Hey everyone, welcome back to the AWESMR Prop channel. We're back with another gummy video. Today we're gonna try making a full Jello watermelon. Our most recent watermelon Jello video, we used the actual rind to make our Jello look like an actual watermelon when you slice it. However, we were only able to eat the flesh since we can't really eat the rind. This time around, we decided to make everything edible while trying to make it look like a watermelon without using any actual watermelon parts. Stick around for full details. Alright, let's get started. In front of me, I have a bottle of chocolate syrup and some unflavored gelatin. I also have a bowl right here. Okay, let's start by blooming some gelatin. I have a smaller bowl filled with water. Usually we measure by the packet for this, but since we have a container today, we need 4 teaspoons of gelatin powder. So what we're doing right now is making the lines that you see on the watermelon rind. Not only will this add detail to our watermelon Jello, but it'll also give our Jello a hint of chocolate flavor as well. You want to mix your gelatin for about a minute or two. Once you get a slushy-like texture, you can stop mixing. Okay, now grab a cup of hot water. And let's add a 1/3 cup of chocolate syrup into the hot water. Before mixing this up, add the unflavored gelatin as well. Okay, now mix this up until everything dissolves. Make sure you don't see any clumps. If this is your first time making one of these, best way to get rid of clumps is to reheat your liquid again and mix. Now we need to pour our liquid onto a baking tray. Make sure you spray some cooking oil on it before. Now just put this in the fridge until your chocolate Jello gets firm. This will take about an hour, maybe 3 max. Okay, so we skipped ahead. Here's our chocolate Jello. We need to transfer this onto a cutting board. Best way to do it, just put your cutting board on top of the tray. And flip it over. Super simple, right? Alright, now we're just going to cut out thin lines. If you see an actual watermelon, you'll notice that the lines aren't straight. If you have a serrated knife or something similar, you can make the lines look realistic. So I'm going to start slicing this up. You won't be using all of this chocolate gummy, so feel free to eat some while you're working on it. Taste-wise, it probably won't be as sweet as the chocolate syrup because we put in the gelatin, but it's still really good. As far as how many lines you need to make, I made 6 just in case, but it really depends on the bowl size you're using, and I'll show you what that means in just a second. So grab whatever bowl you'll be using to make your watermelon shape, make sure you spray cooking oil on this as well, and then just add your gummy lines. Don't put your gummy lines too close to each other, you want to give them some space. Okay, so my bowl was able to fit 5 max. If you're following along, find a bowl that'll fit 5 as well, or if you're doing your own thing, that's good too. Okay, now let's bloom 3 teaspoons of gelatin and work on our next part. We're going to use this gelatin and some Jello to make our watermelon rind. I have 3/4 cups of boiling hot water and a box of green Jello. We'll only be using half of the green Jello, so 3 ounces. If you bought the small Jello pack, then you can pour in the entire thing. Now let's add the gelatin, mix this up. Make sure you get rid of all the clumps. Okay, so this next part is a little tricky. Grab your bowl with the watermelon lines and place it into a larger bowl filled with ice water. Now pour in a little bit of the green Jello, and then just move your Jello around. You'll start to see a thin layer of green Jello form inside your bowl as the Jello starts to set. Make sure you move the Jello around enough so that it completely covers all of the lines. We're not pouring in all of the Jello at once because the Jello might melt the chocolate. Remember, this liquid is still hot. So just use the cold water and move that green Jello around until you get a nice layer of green Jello all around. Oh, also, pour your hot Jello liquid right in the center. That way if your watermelon line moves from its original spot, you can still easily fix it. Alright, so once you finish pouring in all of the green Jello, if you let it set properly, you should have something that looks like this. As you can see, there's a layer all around the bowl, and now we have to put this in the fridge for another few hours. Alright, now let's add some more details. We need 1/2 cup of boiling water, and let's pour 1/2 cup of condensed milk in there as well. So if you guys eat an actual watermelon, you'll notice there's some white in between the rind and the flesh. That's what we'll be making right now. Let's add some unflavored gelatin. This is 2 teaspoons worth, and mix this up. Make sure there's no clumps. Okay, now let's pour a little bit in. And just spread the condensed milk around. Make sure it covers all of the green Jello. So once you finish making a thin layer, put it in the fridge for about 20 to 30 minutes. Then pour in a little more, and follow the same steps as before. So yeah, just like the watermelon rind, this process also takes a while. But afterwards, you should get something like this. Okay, now it's time to make the watermelon flesh using red Jello. We need 1.5 cups of boiling water. Let's pour in this entire packet. Add some unflavored gelatin. This was 6 teaspoons. Now mix this all up. Alright, now just pour in about 1/3 of the Jello mix into the bowl, and then put your bowl in the fridge for about a couple of hours. You just want the Jello to set, but it doesn't have to be completely firm. Alright, so here's how it should look after a couple of hours. You can probably even check at 1 hour to see how it looks. If it looks gummy, then you're good to go. Now we need to add our watermelon seeds. We'll be using chocolate chips, and you just want to poke them into the red Jello. You don't want to leave the chips on top because we'll be pouring in more Jello. If you do that, the chips will move around everywhere and might get clumped in one spot, so it won't look as good. You can also use a toothpick to poke them in. Alright, once you have a good amount of chocolate chips, pour in most of the Jello. Leave a little bit to top off because we need to add more seeds. So after your second layer sets, add in some more chocolate chips. Give me a minute. Now pour the rest of the Jello on top. Now I'm going to leave this bowl in the fridge overnight, but this should be completely ready after a few hours. Okay, our watermelon Jello is nice and firm. We need to take it out of the bowl. Be very careful with this. What I would do is work all around the edges first. If you wiggle it around a bit, it should get loose, and then flip your bowl upside down. And your watermelon Jello should easily pop out. Wow, our watermelon rind looks amazing. The lines look perfect, and I really like that watermelon rind color. Looks so real. Now let's flip this around. Okay. Our watermelon flesh looks really good, and we can see the seeds inside as well. What do you think? This is a pretty good looking watermelon, right? Here's a little field test. Kind of sounds like I'm hitting an actual watermelon. But yeah, this gummy is pretty firm, which is good. That means we used the right amount of gelatin. Okay, now sit back, relax, and enjoy this slicing segment. I'll cut the watermelon up, do a few close-ups, and then near the end, I'll come back to do a taste review. See you after this part. Okay, now it's time for the taste test. First, I'll just try the flesh. This is pretty funny. This is a watermelon, but the red Jello is a strawberry flavor. Really good though. Alright, now let me grab a larger slice and I'll eat the entire thing. So the first slice didn't have chocolate chips, only the red Jello. Oh yeah, that's good. Strawberry with chocolate chips, pretty good combo. The chips add a nice crunchy texture too. Alright, so I know I just ate all of the flesh first, but I think the best way to eat this is taking a bite out of everything. So get some of that rind, that condensed milk, the flesh, and the chips. I know it seems like a lot, but they actually mesh really well together. But if you don't want too much, eat the flesh first, then eat the rind and condensed milk together. Like this. The Jello with the chocolate syrup is obviously good, and then the condensed milk comes in to make it much sweeter. It's a really fun dessert to eat because you can change the taste by how you bite it. Give it a try. AWESMR Pop fans! Thank you so much for watching. We can't do this without you. If you're new to the channel and became a fan, click that subscribe button for more awesome stuff. And if you want to be the first person to watch our next video, hit that notification bell to have a chance. See ya!